To be very honest, I feel like if Tiffany 2020 were to fight Tiffany 2018, I'll kick her ass. I was really surprised, to be honest, because when circuit breaker first happened, I was thinking to myself, like, I probably wouldn't fight anytime soon. I thought the earliest I would fight would be in 2021, next year, just because, you know, there's a whole pandemic, the whole nature of the pandemic. So I was really excited when One Championship contacted me and told me that, you know, they managed to get like approval from the government to have this. And yeah, but they have really strict guidelines for this upcoming event. Like all the fighters, all the cornermen, even the One Championship staffs, they all have to be quarantined during fight week and even after the fight. So I'm glad that, you know, that they can make this happen with all these strict guidelines in place. Yeah. A little bit of disappointment, but at the same time, I wasn't too affected by it, because it's like that has always been my end goal, the title contention. Like even way before I won my last fight, you know, that was the end goal that I was working towards. Because after I challenged for the title once, I came up short, and then I worked my way back after 2 wins, and I told myself that I don't care how many wins it takes for me to get back to title contention. You know, that's my end goal, and I'm gonna find a way to make it there. So even when this whole pandemic happened, I knew that it's still gonna happen. It's just a matter of when. You know, it's just like I have to be patient. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I watched that fight a couple of times, and to be very honest, I felt like I was just very raw as an MMA fighter back then. And yeah, I just didn't have the skills that I needed to win the fight back then, you know. In 2018, I didn't understand the game of MMA as well as I do now. I lacked the skills that I needed. I had many holes in my game that I had to work on. So the past about 2 years plus gave me the time to work on my weaknesses, the holes in my games. And to be very honest, I feel like if Tiffany 2020 were to fight Tiffany 2018, I'll kick her ass. I guess, I wouldn't say difficult, I guess the most important thing that you have to do on the ground is trying to staying in top control, a dominant position without trying to land damage, do strikes, land strikes without giving up your position, you know, because when you're throwing strikes, you're constantly off-balancing yourself, and your opponent is at the bottom trying to get out of that position. So you always have to find your sense of balance when you're in a dominant position. Or let's say if you're in a bad position, you know, that's having your back on the ground is the last thing you want in an MMA fight, with elbows, with strikes landing on you. I wouldn't say extra pressure, because like I said, this has always been my end goal. So I'm excited that, you know, after years, after putting in the work, winning 2 fights, I worked my way back to title contention. And like my training for the past 2 years plus is always had this end goal in mind, you know. Like the fights were just stepping stones for me to achieve my end goal. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yoga has always been a big part of my training for the recovery aspect. Yeah, I feel like it's a good balance, you know. It's kind of like yin and yang, MMA and yoga. So yeah, it's like MMA, the training is always hard, you know, and there's like the strength and conditioning for MMA. So I love that I love that yoga is a good complement. So I usually do it, you know, after a hard day of training, or like on my rest days. Yeah, and not just the meditation part, just like the stretching is good for recovery. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? Like most fight prep, you think like it's a 6 to 8 weeks prep to get ready for a particular fighter. That's the thing. I've been getting ready for this fight since 2 years ago, you know. I know that this fight is coming. I know that this fight is my end goal. I've been staying ready like for the past 2 years, like working the things that I need to work on, working on the holes in my games, working on all my weaknesses. Now I always wanted to do that like for the past few years. Just didn't know how I would look after. I was kind of worried that I would have a weird head shape and I would look like an alien. So that's why I didn't really do it. But during circuit breaker, I decided like, you know what, just do it, like stop waiting, you know. And I just, actually I love this hair more. I feel like it's easier for training, number one, and yeah, it's way faster to shower now. and yeah, it's just, yeah, I feel more carefree, yeah, it's just easier in general. I'm planning to go like full on, just full on ball for the fight. Yeah, yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I thought you talking about you dyeing your hair or something.
No, I'm just gonna like just go full on ball. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that was when like circuit breaker kind of started, right? Was it? Yeah, so I was kind of like just had a lot of time to myself and to think about everything, and just a lot of like questioning of like what's next, you know. And also like a lot of people, they have all this like misconception about fighters, like what they do, and they think that, you know, it's easy being a fighter. They just think that all you do is train and you get paid, but they don't understand what it takes to be a fighter, like the hardships involved. It's like, yeah, you can go on training, you have to juggle training and another side job, you know, especially in the case of Singapore, at least, like all the fighters I know, be it boxing, kickboxing, or anything, they all have like a full-time job that is not related to fight. You know, it's hard to survive purely as a fighter. Yeah, so I feel like that people have a lot of misconception about what being a fighter means. So I just kind of wanted to address that. So ideally, I would like to have like a TKO, KO, or submission. You know, ideally, I don't want to leave it to the hands of the judges. I feel like, you know, sometimes you just have to win it decisively for yourself. You know, and not leave it to the hands of anyone. Especially, you know, I've been working, you know, 2 years plus back into this. I don't want to leave the decisions into anyone's hands. Yeah, so I'm working towards like a sub, a TKO, whatever that gets me the win decisively. Yeah, so I actually do a bit of meditation and breathing techniques before in the corner room, you know, when I'm getting ready for the fight. I feel like it's a good way for me to stay focused, to remind myself, you know, like just walk myself through what's going to come next. Yeah, so kind of like mental visualization and just calming the nerves. I feel like breathing techniques helps a lot to like calm the nerves. And yeah, the usual, like my warm up with my cornerman before the fight, you know, doing drills specific to the fight, and just getting ready for the workout, trying to stay warm. Yeah, kind of like that's kind of a slight advantage I have, right? In Singapore, I guess, I'm the only one who, you know, on that card who has fought without an audience, if I'm not wrong. Oh wait, I think Ritu fought without an audience, so we both fought on the same card. Yeah, so yeah, I kind of know what to expect. You know, I know that I'm used to not having an audience, and I know what to expect. I would say, yeah, it's gonna be a pretty rough, hard journey, I'd say. And I guess what has kept me going on so far is like never lose sight of the end goal. Like I feel like it's important to work towards something. You know, no matter what's your goal, you have to be working towards something to keep yourself going. Yeah, so that's what kept me like anchored.